Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today, I wanted to get on and talk about your sexual health even while you're single, and why it's so important to take this time, to really use this time to your benefit, because tapping into or rediscovering your sexual health can be part of your healing journey, because it's all connected, right? So I've talked about this before, but I wanted to touch on it with regards to being single specifically, because I do have, I've had a number of clients who've come to me and they have come out of long-term relationships, and they're kind of dipping their toe back into the dating scene, but at the same time, they almost have this mindset coming into it that, sex isn't really that important to me, and, I went without it. Maybe there's been times of, like, my clients have had sexless marriages and whatnot, so they got used to it not being important. They kind of pushed that part of themselves down and squashed it so that it didn't hurt so much, right? But now there's this fear that comes up because, they've been out of touch with that part of themselves for so long that they're not feeling confident in themselves. And then I've also had a couple younger clients who are really just, they're not feeling confident in their sexuality and feeling comfortable in their own bodies, and it's making it really hard for them to want to go into the dating world, even though they haven't necessarily been burned in the same ways as someone who's coming out of a long-term relationship and kind of having to rebuild that. But because hopefully at some point those people had some sort of, had some experiences that were really, joyful and erotic, right? But that's not always the case. So why is it important to address your sexual health or engage with your sexual health while you're single? Well, I've talked before, and you can scroll down through, or if you're not interested in doing that, you can hop over to my YouTube page, because I often put a lot of these lives over on YouTube, so you can just hop on over there rather than having to scroll down. So I've talked about the physical benefits of having solo sex, right? I've talked about how it releases feel-good hormones, how it increases circulation, right? So it keeps that pilot light lit, because that's important, because regular orgasms beget regular orgasms, and good orgasms beget good, better orgasms, right? So keeping that energy going is really vital, because at some point you may want to embark on a relationship with someone else in a physical way, and you want to be able to go into that feeling that you have a really healthy relationship with your body, that you know it feels good, and that you've become fully embodied to the point where you love your body, and that allows you to create boundaries, healthy boundaries in new relationships, and it allows you to vocalize and communicate your needs to future partners, right? I like this, I don't like that, I'm open to this, I'd like to try that, I definitely don't want that. You know what I mean? Like, having those kinds of conversation get easier when you know yourself, right? But if you're just kind of like, if you've been in relationships where your sexuality is defined by the person that you're in a relationship with, hence you tend to do the things that they're interested in and respond, you're mostly responsive to their, whatever direction they take it in, then getting to know yourself in that way allows you to take more of a, active and proactive approach to your encounters with other people, right? Because you come from a different place of feeling confident in what you like. And then it's a matter of finding ways to mesh with this other person who has their own needs and desires and wants, right? So that's the dance that you get to do, but it becomes a much easier and healthier dance to do with someone when you're coming from that place of confidence, that self-confidence that comes with, you know, loving yourself and knowing yourself, right? And then the great thing about having this time and space while you are single is that you can create routines in your life that really promote self-care. Because I've talked about the different pillars of good health, right? I've talked about the physical, the mental, emotional, the spiritual, and the sexual. And so often what happens when people get in relationships, especially in the newness of it and in that honeymoon stage, is that you can become fully focused and enmeshed in this relationship, in the newness of it and the excitement of it, that some of the self-care practices that you need aren't necessarily prioritized, right? So this time allows you to sort of focus on yourself and create those routines. Like, I'm going to work out, so many times a week. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do some yoga. I'm going to do some solo sex. I'm going to do things that help me to engage with the erotic, things that help me feel sensual, things that feed the different parts of my sexual being, whether that's from the yin perspective of creating some sensuality or whatever, or maybe it's more of the yang perspective and energy of, doing and creating and manifesting things, right? So you can use that creative energy that you're building by building this sexual energy, and then you can also take the time to make sure that you're addressing all aspects of your health. So, and I've talked about this before, there's a difference between being lonely and being alone. And I think that when you can change your perspective of it as a time of self-love and self-care, and that this is my journey, and embracing that, right? Embracing your journey of rediscovery maybe, or reconnection, or discovering for the first time what what turns you on. And I don't just mean sexually, but certainly in that regard as well. But what makes you feel alive? What fills your passion? What creates that energy flow? When I talk about the different chakras and how energy flows through these different chakras, well, the second chakra is the sexual, the seat of the sexual energy. If the energy is stagnant and stuck, and you're not really utilizing that energy and moving it and, creating routines that help to, create that balance within yourself, then there's a lot of stuckness that's going to happen, and that can really play a part in how alive you feel and how vibrant you feel and how creative you feel. So if you're wondering, how do I get that? How do I get the spark? How do I get that energy for myself? Then this is what that time is for, right? So if you're needing help with that, which often we do, right? Because it's like, where do I start? There's lots of resources out there around the physical part, and I've talked about that before. Like, there's, tons of resources and experts in those fields who can help you get healthier physically. And some of those things are even free, right? So, like, you might have to do some research, and you might have to learn some stuff and tailor it to you and your lifestyle and things that work for you. But maybe you focus on that for a while, and then maybe once you sort of get a better handle on that and you feel like you've got that routine done, maybe then you're addressing some of your mental health needs and things that would make you feel good, and connections that need to be made with other people, and community that needs to be built, and supports that need to be gotten, right? Like, so, and then as we feel more safe and nurtured, and we're able to feel that sort of deeper healing within our nervous system, this can allow for that energy to flow more freely, and then can allow for us to really connect to our spiritual self and our sexual self, right? So it can be done sort of as an all over kind of like I'm wanting to be a healthier version of me. And so each day I'm going to try to add a little bit of everything in those categories that I think would be reasonable. Like, so maybe I'm going to start with 5 minutes of exercise and then maybe 5 minutes of meditation, right? Maybe that seems like, doable chunks. And then maybe I'm going to do a little bit of meal prep for the week so I have some healthier snacks, or I'm going to cut out soft drinks or something. Like, there's some little things that you can be doing along the way that we often know that we should be doing, but we forget how vital that is. And sometimes when we're in relationship with other people, even when it's great, like I said, like you can be really caught up in that newness and honeymoon phase and be feeding off of those feel-good hormones, that you're not necessarily doing the things that you would normally do to get that kind of feeling within yourself. And so you put a lot of your needs into someone else's hands, right? In that scenario. So some of that's positive, and then some of that's not so great if it's bumping you off your path of your journey, right? We don't want to become completely encompassed in someone else's journey. We want to be doing our own journey as well, right? Alongside of, and we want to be helping each other in each individual journey, but we want to make sure that we're not enmeshed, right? And then the other side of it is when you're in a relationship that's toxic, that takes so much of your energy that trying to focus on those things that would be healthier feels so far out of reach. And sometimes we're turning to things for comfort that we know aren't healthy for us, but in the moment we're just needing that comfort, right? And that's just natural, right? So until we sort of get free from that situation and are able to get that space, or maybe we're taking space because we know that we need time to get to know ourselves. Either way, I think it's important that if you are single, that you look at it as an opportunity to focus on you. And if you need any help with that, like I said, I'm not an expert in all of that, but I can help you. I can help guide you, because sometimes people don't know where to start, and sometimes we need to unravel a few of the big knots that are holding us back from really, delving into and exploring and resourcing those other parts of ourselves. So taking care of the mental, emotional piece can often be the catalyst to these other changes that happen, because we've now freed ourselves up to those possibilities. So if I can help in that way, please feel free to reach out to. If you're looking for resources for other things, reach out as well, because you never know. I have a huge network of people who are doing all kinds of different work in different fields to help people with their physical journey, to help people with their spiritual journey, that sort of thing. But when it comes to like the coaching aspect and helping women and LGBTQ folks become more centered within themselves, to gain that clarity that they're needing to really be able to practice and embody self-love, that's the kind of work that I can help with. So please feel free to reach out. Namaste, and have a great day.